if I can teach it to you, I know my Parkinson's disease, right? Hello guys, it's Nimra from London. It's been more than half of my exchange that has passed. I don't know how to talk, sorry, because since this morning I didn't go out, even if it's pretty sunny today, because I'm revising for my exams. So I was like, let's be sure that you're revising well and record yourself explaining Parkinson's disease. So I'll try my best, okay? From my notes. So Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative, I don't know how to say that in English, disease, which means that it affects the brain and it let me check my notes. I know how to explain it in French, guys. I swear, but the words are missing in my head in English. It just means that it's affecting the brain and it's altering its chemistry in the time. Like the more you grow, the more you develop the Parkinson's disease. It has when I say altering the brain, I talk about the substantia nigra, which means in Latin black substance, because nigra means black, because the part of this brain the part of the brain is black, like literally you can see black pigment because of the lack of melatonin, I think, but I don't know for sure this. And this substantia nigra is located in the basal ganglia. Oh, sorry for my accent, it's terrible, I know, but I improved, I swear I improved. What can I say else? So many things. I can say so many things on Parkinson's. I don't even know where to start. I actually knew an old lady in Paris who had Parkinson's. So every time I'm revising Parkinson's, now she's dead, RIP, I think about her and how nice she was, and she was the only one to gift me, like to think about a gift for me at Christmas, because she knew we would not celebrate it. But why am I talking about my family stuff? Sorry, let's go back into our neurodegenerative disease, characterized by progressive loss of motor and non-motor function. The motor function, it's tremor at rest, which means like you tremble, or you understood, you shake. Bradykinesia, which means all of your movements are slow. Rigidity, which means that you have a stiffness. Postural instability and balance issues. The balance and coordination, it's a more elaborated move in the brain, but the balance is in the cerebellum, like the proper balance and equilibre, like to stabilize yourself. Then slurred speech and facial rigidity. Non-motor factors are neurological, of course, with a cognitive dysfunction, psychiatric disorders like hallucinations, anxiety, depression, psychosis, and peripheral in the gastrointestinal. People say that constipation is one of the early indicators of Parkinson, and I didn't know about this one. Autonomic dysfunction, orthostatic hypotension, excessive sweating, urinary incontinence, sexual dysfunction, and other symptoms like anosmia, which is the loss of smell, and which is also an early sign. Micrographia, which means you write very, very tiny on the paper. And yeah, this was the motor and non-motor symptoms of Parkinson's disease. That was true. Substantia nigra is a dark pigment due to dopamine, not melatonin, but I'm confusing it with substantia, and there's another substantia, and it's a red one, reddish, and the red thing is melatonin, I think. In my French classes last year, that's what I learned. Okay, so I talked about all this on PaRkinson's, if I can teach it to you, I know my Parkinson's disease, right? How it's managed, but I'm looking for other information that could be really interesting to share with you for those who are interested. Mechanism in chemistry, it's quite complex, but I'll try. So there's actually two mechanisms, if I remember well. There's the dopamine receptors and there's the MPTP mechanism. The MPTP mechanism, it's linked to mitochondria, and mitochondria is really important in our whole body because of the energy it can generate. So mitochondria affected means disruption in our ATP production, and ATP is the energy for every one of our cells. So the MPTP is metabolized into a neurotoxin MPP+, and this MPTP crosses the brain barrier, which is another long subject that I could talk to you about. It just means that the particle can cross and arrive in the brain and have its effect in the brain, and it's become a neurotoxin called MPP+, and this MPP+, it's a potent inhibitor of our mitochondrial function, and this causes the cell deaths. And which cell death? The neurons that produce dopamine. So that's why in the management of Parkinson's disease, we try to focus on the dopamine synthesis, biosynthesis, which start with L-tyrosine and then L-dopa and then dopamine. And dopamine is catched by two enzymes. I don't know if it's like enzymes, like if it's the good word to describe them, which are MAO, monoamine oxidase, MAO-B for brain, and COMT, catechol O methyltransferase. And this is the two people that breaks down dopamine, and we don't want dopamine to be break down because of the neurotoxin that already breaks down too much ATP. So one of the way to prevent, or not to prevent because it's not really a preventable disease, I'm sorry, one of the way to control Parkinson is to either stop the breakdown of dopamine, or to produce more dopamine. But to produce more dopamine, I don't think like we're expert of this, like the human in 2025. I don't know if with our technology, even if we did a lot, we can be proud of us. I don't know if we can make the production in, like, I don't know, but I don't know. I know that we can stop dopamine from being breakdown by these two enzymes. So that's why we try to act on this specific receptor of dopamine that catches the dopamine to break it down, which are D1 to T5, and D1 stimulates adenyl cyclase, but it's not in the substantia nigra, so it doesn't interest us. And D2 reduces cyclic AMP production. AMP is of course linked to ATP, our energy. ATP means 3-phosphate, adenosine 3-phosphate, and AMP means adenosine monophosphate, and we want 3 of it, so that's why the cyclic AMP seems really important in the ATP production. And so D2 is the target. And yeah, I'm not going to talk about similar diseases because else I'm going to get lost. But of course there are other diseases that are like Parkinson's because it's in the same area in the brain, but they're not they don't have the same effect. Like they're different, like they're just different. I don't know why I'm confusing myself. It's Huntington's chorea, progressive supranuclear palsy, multiple system atrophy. I know them too in French. but I'm not going to talk about them right now because I didn't finish with my PaRkinson's. Now that I described the way the dopamine, the MAO, the COMT, the substantia nigra, I'm going to talk about the management I kind of did with the dopamine. But is there something that I could have forgot? Oh yeah, dopamine agonists. That's what I was searching for. Dopamine agonists bind and activate dopamine receptor. Okay, interesting. I want to know, what do we monitor during? I think we have to monitor a lot in these kind of heavy diseases. Okay, let me do a break and I come back. Also, I think it's important to mention, even if I think everybody knows, but Parkinson is a lifelong disease. You cannot recover from it once you have it, and it's not treatable like 100%. I'm sure even if with surgery you cannot like really recover from it, but that has to be confirmed. Like, I didn't talk to any neurosurgeon to assume that, but yeah. And it can be a very heavy disease, like I was saying. When you have someone in your family that has this disease, it can turn your world upside down. My neighbor had it, and even if she wasn't a member of my family, I considered her like my grandma. And when she had it, we did everything we could with my family to try and help her, to do the groceries, to just be a human towards her. And we could see how the disease were taking her away from herself. And yeah, it was a shock when she died, but we were here for her during the last months, and she was really brave to continue to live in Paris with her sickness. And if you know someone who has this disease, I'm sending you my love and my positive energy, because you can get through it. And remember that you are not the one that's suffering from the disease. I know it can be hard to just see someone affected by it, because it's a really hard disease. Like, we don't talk about this enough. And yeah, I don't know if my words can help you, but I know what you're going through, and I hope you get over this phase of your life, or just I hope you can recover, and I hope you heal.